So the Danish also left their influence. If you take written versions of Danish and Norwegian, at least in written form, you see that they're almost identical. It is just that they pronounce their handwritten versions very differently. There is an ongoing debate about who has the potato in their mouth. The current version says it is the Danish who have it, and the Norwegians speak more clearly. Then you need to ask the Danish what do they say about the Norwegians. Then the union with Denmark lasted only until the Napoleonic Wars. If you remember from high school, there was a little man called Napoleon Bonaparte. And during his time, most of Europe was at war. All the countries were against each other. And Scandinavia was no exception. So on the one hand of this conflict, on the one corner, you have Sweden. And on the other corner, the opposite side, you have Denmark. Norway didn't really have a say in this, but they were tied to Denmark in this union, and they were not in charge of their own foreign policy. So then they had to side with Denmark anyway. But at the end of the Napoleonic Wars, then Sweden was on the winning side, and Denmark ended on the losing side of events. So then, when Denmark lost the war, they had to pay compensation to Sweden for damages. And then they had this genius idea of paying Sweden with Norway. So that's how Norway went on from being under Danish administration on to being under Swedish administration. This happened in the 1800s. And then some people made jokes about this and claimed that the Swedish could not wait to get rid of Norway. Others say that, well, Sweden understood that Norway was a country with a long history and with some identity, so then they decided to reinforce it and promoted Norwegian independence. So it was during the Swedish administration that we see the construction of the Royal Palace and also the Norwegian Parliament. And at the same time, all of the institutions that before would have been located in Denmark were now being materialized in Norway. So Norway started building their own universities and their own institutions. All these during the Swedish king's time. Then eventually Sweden allowed Norway to run its own foreign policy, and with this Norway became an independent nation. The whole process was done through basically amicable conversations. So Norway did not go through a revolution or a war of independence. And this is reflected today in the character of the celebrations. So remember, every 17th of May, when Norway celebrates the signing of a new constitution, there is a children's parade. And this is because Norway had a peaceful process for independence. If Norway had gone through a war of independence or a revolution, most likely there would have been a military parade. Like in France, they have an impressive display of the armed forces there in Bastille Day. But in Norway, it's children, remember, and the drunken parents in the what you call the champagne breakfast tradition.
Okay guys, tuloy pa tayo
Okay,
sa
we
tour
discussed
natin.
earlier as well how during this
Mamaya,
time it was
after
called the
natapos
Romantic
yung tour
era.
guide,
It was the time of the Norwegian
saka
explorers.
naman
They
natin
were
discuss yung
roaming
kay
around
Willie
the
Ong,
areas around the
kay
North
Dr.
Pole and
Willie
South
Ong.
Pole. When it comes to Norwegian explorers, remember there were many countries that were interested in conquering the same parts of the world, and most countries were motivated by commercial gain. If you can claim a commercial route, then you can claim a lot of money for people when they intend to cross that area later in the future. Norwegians had an interest that was quite similar in terms of it was economically motivated, but because they were also materializing their independence, there was an enormous national pride. And some people believe that this also, in addition to how they managed to learn all of the techniques from the Inuits, was what made it possible for them with such a small crew of people. Remember, the polar expeditions took at the time 6 people on board, 12 people on board, compared to the big American and British operations with hundreds of people on board. It was because they were inspired also by a deep sense of nationalism. So that is what we need to remember. We mentioned all of the Norwegian icons existed and were contemporary to each other. And many of the Norwegian icons are famous around the world. Many people have heard about Munch and Ibsen and the explorers, especially Amundsen, but not many people have heard about Gustav Vigeland. And Gustav Vigeland is Norway's most famous sculptor. You will understand when we tour the park together and you see the amount of sculptures that there are in there, why He is totally or virtually unknown outside of the country. He worked so many years in this project that basically he didn't sell any sculptures outside of the country. When it comes to Vigeland Park, I need to make a couple of indications. Number one is that we're going to walk the park through. So we're not going to go back to the point where we leave the bus. We're going to leave the bus at point A, and then we're all going to walk together to point B. So it's very important for you, regardless of how much you want to go to the bathroom or make that picture to send back home, that you pay attention to the indications. I'm going to give you a time and a place, and especially I want to show you where the bus is going to be, in case you think it's too hot, too cold, you forgot something, or if you want to do the park in your own time. So very important. This is the last time we meet the bus, and we have to go to town, and there's a boat to catch, so we cannot wait for those of you who don't come back at this specified time. So we want to prevent that from happening, so very important that you pay attention to the indications. Another thing is that it's quite common for the tourists to admire the sculptures, looking up and then forgetting that there are many steps there. Then turn around for a celebrated selfie, and then all you hear is a sound. The sound can be your hip or your knee, or your skull, and we don't want that to happen. So even though at Gustav Vigeland's Park they are very good at washing out the blood stains left by the tourists who fall here on a daily basis, I'm gonna ask you all to watch your step at all times. Those of you who have difficulty walking, you can also do the tour, or you can choose to stay on board the bus. You can avoid the steps by going on the sides. There are some ramps there. But then you need to follow the times so that you can do the break at your own pace. If you want to do pictures and you're not so interested in the guided tour, you can also do that. So then once again you need to pay attention to where the bus is going to be and at what time. So I want everyone to know where the bus is going to be and the time where we're going to meet. Then apart from that, you can do whatever you want. You can come with me, or you can go and tour the park at your own pace. There are over 200 sculptures here, so if you're gonna photograph all of those, it's gonna take a long while. So try to make it a selection of them. But last but not least, we're leaving the bus right next to a bike lane, and Norwegian bikers are aggressive and blind, so they don't stop for you or for anybody else. So as soon as you leave the bus, please make your way to the main road. I'm gonna be carrying the green umbrella as usual, so you can find me at all times. So remember, we're gonna cross the park through. We're not coming back here. We're gonna reunite with the bus at the other end of it. Remember the steps, and remember it's 850 meters the walk. And then I'm gonna ask now Michael the time when we meet on the other side.
Hi guys, tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung tour natin. Later on, kung naglalakad na tayo,
we are gonna meet
i-explain ko yung kay Willie Ong.
3:15.
3:15.
3:15. We're gonna meet on the other side. So that will be 15:15. 3:15, we're gonna meet on the other side. Now, I'll see you outside the bus.
Sandali lang. Sandali guys, ayusin lang namin yung pababa. Baka mataliso tayo dito. Wala ba things na iwan?
Wala man. Hindi, pwede naman iwanan daw ang things.
Hindi, daling ko na lang. Baba ulit. So okay guys, ito tayo. Pababa na naman. At dito tayo sa isang park na naman. Kalimutan ko na yung pangalan. So balik tayo kay Willie Ong. If you can hear me, please tell me kung okay yung mic natin. Balik tayo kay Willie Ong. Okay ba yung mic natin? Yung kwan. Dennis Staples, okay ba yung kwan? Yung yan, kay Willie Ong, It is very, pagkilagay yung knapsack ko, balik tayo kay Willie Ong. If you can hear me, tell me. Kasi walking tayo, walking explanation. So it's very saddening na now sinasabi niya na yung cause daw ng kanya ay yung negativity, yung toxic, nandun na yung mga bikers. So, oo, nandun na. So, mga bata. Ganda ng aso. So, yung cause daw ng kanya, yung cancer niya ay yung yung negativity sa mga comments at siyempre sa vlog niya. So ito nga guys, ang mensahe natin dito ay yun ang tour guide namin, South American.
Where the bus is going to be. And after that, you can do your own thing as long as you remember both the bus train moving by the bus.
Anong oras tayo? 3:15.
3:15, yeah.
15:15. So ito yung park na pupuntahan natin. So okay ba yung sound natin guys? Okay daw, okay. Sabi ni Pilo. So yun guys, I really kilala ko naman si Willie Ong. I supported him in the last election kasama kay Isko. I'm very sad kasi kahit doon lang sa campaign ni Isko, medyo na siya, stress siya. Nakita ko talaga na apektado talaga siya. So ngayon, I'm not surprised na sa news na ito kasi ito na nga ang punto guys. May stomach cancer siya. So ito na nga ang punto guys. Kaya dapat talaga suportahan at respetuhin natin yung mga vloggers, lalo na yung mga matitino na hindi naman ginagawang hanap buhay yung vlogging. Many of us are you know, parang kandila po kami na kung nakasindi kami ng mga stress at saka ng mga toxic topic, apektado rin kami. So si Willie Ong may kaya naman ang pamilya niyan. He just wants to help the country. Pero dahil sa maraming mga negative comments sa kanya, siguro kahit pati mga medical niya, sinisiraan siya, mga medical vlogs niya, kaya naapektuhan siya. Kawawa naman kasi kahit ako, pinapanood ko rin yung vlog niya. So I'm very sad to hear the news na ganito pala nangyari sa kanya. At sabi niya nga, ito daw ay stomach cancer ay dala ng mga negative comments. So kaya lesson rin yan sa amin mga vloggers na dapat may time rin mag-relax. Kaya nga pumunta tayo ng Iceland at Norway. Wow, ang ganda ng sculpture doon. No? Grabe, pambihira. So kaya nga dito tayo sa Norway ngayon. Galing lang tayo sa Iceland. Dahil mahirap rin po mag-vlog. Pwera doon ginagawa nga ng buhay ang vlogging. Doon kami po, tulad kami, negosyante kami. Nag-vlog for love of God and country lang. So, mas talo ang oras namin. Mas nalulugi kami, abonante kami sa mga staff namin. So, mas pagkatapos yun, na-stress. Sa case ko, yung puso ko, yung pagka-diabetic ko, yung pagka-asthmatic ko. So, yan talaga ang mensahe dito na let us give more respect, appreciation, and support sa mga vloggers na matitino. Di ba na yung mga binibenta yung bansa at karma lang kung mga matitino po like Willie Ong. Let us pray for them. Let us support them. Let us always make them part of our prayers. At yun, kung yung lalo na yung mga matitino, kung may extra, it's okay to help provide financial support rin sa mga honest, independent, and neutral vloggers. So ito lang po ang nakikita ko talaga big lesson dito sa singyari kay Willie Ong na they really are hindi lang po hindi madali po mag-vlog. Tulad ako po siguro pagbalik ko maka more time for my business kasi di ba meron ako parmasya, meron ako medical business na itatayo, and then meron rin ako gagawa ng bagong coffee shop sa Zamboanga, so baka limited ng time natin, pero subukan baka may time pa tayo para mag-vlog. So ito na.
We wait maybe 1 minute and a half until the rest of the group has gathered here. In the meantime, what you're gonna see here are sculptures that were made all by one single person. He refused to work with other sculptures. There's only one exception, and it's with the big centerpiece you see there. That's the monolith. Then he allowed 3 other sculptures to work there. Other than that, he decided he would work all the time, mostly all on his own. The whole project took many years, many decades to complete. So we're going to discuss a little bit of those things as we go through the sculptures. And now I believe that since all of you are here, remember, I want you to be with me until I show you where the bus is going to be, and we're going to meet all there 3:15. In case you get lost, if you're too tired, if you think it's too hot or too cold, you can always go to the bus as long as you're there before 3:15. We have to deliver people by the terminal, and we have also to go to the boat. So you see, we cannot wait for anyone beyond the boat. So now I'm going to show you where the bus is going to be.
3:15.
The people that are going on to the terminal.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
There was going to be walking right in front of you.
Wow, ang ganda guys. So tingnan nyo yung mga series of 200 sculpture. Biro nyo, isang tao lang gumawa. Grabe, pambihira talaga. Pambihira. 200 sculpture. So yan, nakikita nyo. Oh. Ganda. Ganda. The best talaga. Kahit anong anggulo, kukunin mo, maganda pa rin. Iba. Iba talaga. Ibang Norway. Okay guys, hanggang dito lang muna tayo. Kung may time mamaya, we will explore more with you dito sa Norway. Ngayon, pakinggan muna natin yung mga instruction kung saan daw kami magbingit mamaya. Wow, mas maganda doon. Grabe. Grabe. Wow. Aha. Ganda. Tingnan nyo yung fountain. Wow. Ganda talaga. Part of the 200 sculptures lang yan, ha? Fountains, lahat. Dami yan. Andito na instruction.
Towards the other end of the corridor, you see the buses at the other end. So he's not there yet. He's going to be there in 5 minutes, approximately. So that's where the bus is going to be. And that's where we're all going to meet 3:15. Remember, in case you get lost or if you want to do your own thing. To walk from here along all the way there is 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
12 to 15 minutes, depending on how far. So remember that. You can do your own thing as long as you remember 3:15, we all meet there by the bus. The rest of you...
Okay guys, takbo muna kami. lakad muna ulit. So thank you. Thank you very much for watching and see you mamaya sa next vlog natin.